So happy Monday. I'm in the kitchen and I wanted to show you what I do for comfort food. Just when I feel like comfort food, as well as some healthy stuff. So I'll explain it in a second, but I wanted to just show you first the reality of my kitchen. Mess, 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 mess. And then this is still washing up that needs to go away. And then I also need to unpack the dishwasher. And there's my view. Anyway, so if you have ever, if you have my ebook, my free recipe book, Get Your Shit Together, then you'll know about that. But I also wanted to show you this recipe. So it's flatbreads, and I hope you can see that. I have in here 450 grams of flour. Now I'm showing you this because it is so easy to make, and I put this on now so it will take a few minutes to knead. I'll show you how to knead the dough so you know what you're doing, and then it just sits and it rests and it does its thing, and then I can get back to cleaning up all this crap. So this is like time management in the kitchen, using my time how I can, but also I want veggies and I know Pierre will want some carbs, so we're just going to make our awesome little flatbreads. So first up I have in here, this is warm water. I'll give you the exact measurements. It's about 300 mils of warm water mixed with 2 tablespoons of yeast. So normally everyone has yeast kind of hiding in their cupboard somewhere, so this is the time to get it out and use it. You can get it from the supermarket, you can get it from a health food store. It doesn't really matter, so if you're on your way home tonight, you can absolutely get that. And this is just yeast, 2 tablespoons, 300 mils of warm water, and then also a tablespoon of, I use coconut sugar, and a tablespoon of this flour. So that's just sat there for about 10 minutes, and as you can see, it's bubbled up and activated, and this is how you know that it's ready. So after 10 minutes of doing nothing except putting it in here, I'm fogging up. Woo. Putting it in this jar and giving it a stir, this is what happens. Science. And then to our flour, we're adding a teaspoon of salt. So put that in, and we mix it all together. And first up here, I need to flour this board. So I only started kneading dough, well, it was whenever I found out that I could make pizza, and that my pizza was more delicious than any pizza that I could get in my area. So I'm very happy to go out for pizza and, you know, go to amazing places, but I'm not a big fan of average pizza. So, you know, like, I want it to be good. I want the crust to be crispy. I don't want like soggy, you know, half-cooked crust. Anyway, so this kind of all started from me wanting to experiment with making the pizza, and I also found that my pizza dough could be flatbread dough, but also that I don't really need a lot of skills to do something scary that I'd never done before. It was actually just a process of applying pressure, and, you know, the pressure would do the work for me. I didn't totally need to know what was going on. So we have our little bubbly yeast water mixture, and I'm going to pour it in here. So people say make a well in the middle and gradually stir it in, but you know what, like, who's got time to do that? Just pour it in, and then we'll just mix it around. I need a clear bowl for this, but use your imagination. I'm going to turn it out onto this dough, onto this chopping board very shortly. So you just want to bring it all together, and you might look and go, oh my gosh, I need a bit more water, but you won't. 300 mils is plenty. It just needs a bit of time to do all of its work. So I'll turn it out now. And this is just standard plain flour. I haven't done anything special here, so if you're gluten-free, I'm sorry. I don't have a gluten-free flatbread recipe that I love yet. I've kind of been working on one, but it's not here. If you know of one, let me know. So we just need to squish this all together so all the flour gets into that water, and it will come together. And so you might look at this now and go, oh my God, is it going to come together? It will come together. And that's what you need to say to yourself. It will come together, it will come together. Positive thinking. As you'll learn, if you're a part of kitchen sorcery or you know anything about what I do, positive thinking gets you a long way in the kitchen. And I honestly believe that most of the time we mentally doom the recipe before we've even begun. Oh. I closed the windows so the traffic wasn't noisy, but now it's hot in here. So, look at that, it's coming together. Put that up there. This is just still smushing it, although you could kind of call this kneading. Gets messy, but you know, if you've had a really stressful day or you just want some time to think, this is a really good thing to do because you can just chill out and get into the dough. So that took a bit longer, but that's it. And now all we need to do is knead it for 5 minutes. So this is a knead. That's our ball. Push it out toward you, and you can see how I've stretched that. That's what you call kneading. And then we'll push it out again, fold it back together, fold it up, push it out again, and we're using the heel of our hand to push it out, and then all of our hands to bring it back together. And all you need to do is watch. You need to watch, and you'll notice this dough will begin to change. You can probably already see already from before it's coming together. It looks different to how it did even a few minutes ago. So I'm meant to knead this for 5 minutes. You can put a timer on. Or sing yourself a song, whatever you do. Time is always good. Or look at a clock and then know. I have no idea when I started this. Okay, now dough check again. Look at that, it looks different. And if you kind of press it, should be a bit springy. So keep kneading it. So this is a good one to do. I put this on, I leave it to rest for about the half an hour that it needs, and I get everything else ready. So I might cook the halloumi, I'll put the oven on, I'll roast the veggies, I'll make a little dressing, I'll kind of look in the fridge and get out what flavor bombs I want to go with this. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to get my free recipe book, Get Your Shit Together, which explains all about flavor bombs, but they're really just deliciousness that you can keep in the fridge that you can top your meals with. So a few of mine are coconut yogurt or normal yogurt, fresh herbs or dried herbs, toasted seeds, although they take a little bit, you actually have to toast them, pickles, kimchi, sauerkraut, even something like a pate, like a chicken liver pate if I had that. So they're just things that I keep in the fridge that can add easy flavor to my meals without me needing to spend time actually doing anything. So this is effort. Everything else that really goes into this meal isn't a lot of effort. Okay, dough check. It's changed shape, it looks good. I think the best thing with this type of recipe is you can't really stuff it up as long as you knead for 5 minutes and it looks similar to this, and you let it rest, it's gonna work and it's gonna be amazing. And to me, a slice of this with roasted veggies and a few of the things that I just mentioned, and halloumi is the perfect combination of healthiness with also comfort food, and of course flavor and color too. So that's it. Ready, and now it needs to sit for half an hour. So I'd put this back in an oiled bowl, which I don't have. Let it sit for half an hour, and I'll come back on in half an hour and show you the next steps. Bye. Okay. Oh, I might turn that light off. That's better. There's plenty of light in here. Okay, so you saw my kitchen before. Clean. Everything's in there, drying itself. Hello when you log on. Tell me if you'll make this. So we're making flatbreads and we've just let them rise. I have it here. I'll show you in a second, but I didn't get around to putting my veggies in the oven, so I wanted to show you a trick of what I do. So I have 1 eggplant and 1 capsicum, and it's a little bit manky. So all I do with the capsicum is chop it in half, and most people would chop around, try and get all those seeds out, do whatever. I'm not doing that. I'm just chopping them into quarters and putting them on my tray, which is here, and just simply letting the oven roast away. And then by the time these are cooked in about 30 minutes, you'll just be able to, this will just fall off. Like, don't even worry about trying to chop the seeds out. And then with this, how much? I'm going to do the whole thing. Ooh, it's a bit tough. So I'll chop it into just chunks. Doesn't totally matter what chunk size it is. I think I said this on the live the other day, but the knife needs a sharpen. Just scatter them on the tray. I kind of like eggplant and capsicum cooking together because they both have nice, you know, the capsicum has nice flavor. So does the eggplant, but when they kind of mush together, they, you know, they're friends. They just hang out in the oven together. So I just quickly chopped off that stem. There's nothing else in there. This is your aim for cooking fast. And then just throw it. Sometimes I watch people cook if I'm with them, or you know, they're here helping me and they're like so into it, and I'm just like, just bloody chop it. Just chop it. So this is all on my tray here. And then it's going into the oven with just some olive oil, maybe a tablespoon, and then some salt. So I really should have done this before, in between, while that flatbread was, you know, doing its thing, but I didn't get around to it. I normally try and, you know, utilize my time in here, so I'm not in here for a long time. So you know that I just washed up all that stuff that I had there. I also put away the dishwasher. I swept the floor. I put my pan on. I did lots, but this should have actually been step 1 because these roasted veggies would almost be ready. So in the oven, and I have my oven on, it's actually on 200 because I think it just needs a bit of an extra oomph with eggplant. So I just have a small chopping board there. I'll take that away, put it in the washing up water, and then that's done. And I'll have a happy washer-upper later because he won't need to do too much. So, flatbreads, chopping board, flour, just a bit more, you don't need a lot. Rub it in. And then, look how much that has risen. didn't even line that with olive oil, as I say to do in the recipe, which you can get on my website. I'll link to it. But that's doubled in size. It's so much softer now. So what I do, this makes 4 pizzas, 4 large pizzas, or I normally do 8 flatbreads. So I chop it in half, and I won't use this bit now, so I will portion it out into its 4 bits and then put it in snap lock bags and then freeze it. So we have 4 flatbreads for later, or 2 pizzas. And then just chop these into 4 bits, put those over there. And we need a little rolling pin. How easy is that? So I can't even see. Hey Stacy. I can't see how long I've been going for, but I haven't been live for very long, and so you'll see the effort was in 10 minutes getting our little yeast bit ready, which that just needed to set. You just had to set and forget that. And then we kneaded for 5 minutes and mixed for a bit, and now we're here. Most of it was just passive cooking time. So I'm just rolling this out. And if you want to make it for that dough, the dough knows when you're nervous. I don't think that that's totally the case with this. It's, you know, the case with, they say, with pastry and that type of thing, like short crust. But just, you can't really stuff it up. If you stuff it up, all you need to do is scrunch it back up and go again. And as long as your dough has risen, it should about double in size, then you're kind of good to go. So I have 2 awesome flatbreads. I'm just rolling each side out. And because there's no flour on this board anymore, it's kind of all been absorbed. That's why I'm picking it up and flipping it around. Yeah, just making sure it's not getting stuck to the chopping board. So I'm gonna just wash my hands. And then, they're my bowls. I got my bowls out. Ooh. And I have a tablespoon of oil. Well, about that. I'll put that in the pan. And I've just had my pan heating. So, let's see how this goes, huh? We're gonna makeshift this here. You know what, I might just hold it up. Okay, so there's my little stove top. This is the most annoying thing about this kitchen. I'll just give you a rant. All the bench space is over there. It's pretty small. Where do I put the phone? Someone can tell me that answer. So, I have my spatula. This pan is quite hot. So I can tell that that pan will actually, yeah, it's gonna smoke the oil a bit. So I'm just gonna take it off for a little bit. I left it a little bit too long. And I'll show you inside the oven while we're waiting for it to just cool down. Not that it's been very long. But the eggplant's starting to smell. Things are going well. Okay, that should be enough time. So you really don't want your olive oil smoking. So about a tablespoon, kind of like a pancake, you know, just swirl that around. I find sometimes the first flatbread is a bit, you know, like a pancake, it's a bit more high maintenance. And then simply just put that in there and see it's sizzling. You really don't want it sizzling too much, but it'll be fine. And I can still spin it, so that's good. It means there's enough oil in there. And you can already see these bubbles are starting. So we need that for about a minute or two. And then right now would be a good time. You could come back over here, if I get my thumb out of the way, and just roll out another bit of bread. So I'll make the full 4, and that means I'll have, well, we'll have an extra one each for lunch tomorrow. So roll it out. I mean, you could roll all of these out at once and stuck them up using baking paper, but I just think that that's a waste, and it can cut, you know, waste of baking paper, and it can easily be done while we're just waiting for this to cook. So let's go back to our pan. Look at all those bubbles. Look at that, beautiful. So that was a minute. I had my timer on, and I'll just peek. So you can see it's still not colored. Oh, that's because I turned the heat down. So I'm gonna put it on for another minute, and now I have the heat on the actual correct temperature. Beautiful bubbles. It's kind of like naan bread, isn't it? So, what have I done? I'll come back over here, let it go for a bit longer, utilize my time in the kitchen, keep rolling out my flatbread. So I have 1, 2, 3, and that will be 4. Can you see those bubbles in there? That means that the yeast is doing its thing. So, you know, there's all different types of comments about yeast out there. I get the one from the health food store. I think it's fine. The natural way to, you know, not have yeast is to make sourdough, which I also do. I don't have any starter going at the moment. I went away and lost it, but that would be the natural way. So unless you're going to go to the effort of getting a starter, maintaining your starter, you've got to feed it every day or every week, this is the next best thing. Just a bit of yeast. Okay. Alright, I let that go a little bit too long. Really, there should just be speckles on there of brown bits, but that's going to be fine anyway. It'll be amazing and delicious. And so we'll leave this one for 1 minute. And then we're kind of done. So we have 3 other bits of bread. And then in here we have another 4, which can go in the freezer. And this will make 2 pizza dough or 4 flatbreads. So this one's on my website, but this is also from a module in Kitchen Sorcery called Dude Food, and also for fussy people, which we focus on because it's really great to be able to reinvent some of your old classics. So like I said before, I was sick of going out for average pizza. So I learned how to make dough, figured out it was really easy to actually make, and I didn't need to be scared of how I needed the dough out, and that you just had to do that and it would work. And, you know, now I can make these things and teach you in a short amount of time. But Kitchen Sorcery cart is open if you're ready to banish the stress and just be exposed to a new way of cooking that doesn't need to be stressful. It doesn't need to be perfectionist. We're just all in the kitchen together, hanging out, having fun. And, you know, you can make delicious flatbreads like this, or pizza, or many other things. And the whole aim of Kitchen Sorcery is to get you set up with a few little rhythms and rituals going for your week, so you always come back to the fact of, you know, you're in the flux of like, I don't have time to cook, and you come back to, I'm gonna make some time, I have 5 minutes, what can I do in 5 minutes? And you know, you'll get so many recipes to run with, but it comes back to this notion of, you're a human being, you gotta freaking take care of yourself, otherwise who else is going to? I know we have family, I know we have friends, I know we have all of that, but feeding yourself good food, and if you're, you know, a parent and you have little ones to take care of, feeding yourself good food is your responsibility. It's everybody's responsibility to do it for themselves, to make these choices, to have good food, home cooked food, because takeaway does not cut it. Takeaway does not cut it, okay? And there's no reason that this stuff needs to be stressful, except that it is for so many of us, because we think it takes so long to do it. So, you know, if you watch this whenever you do, I can see a few people are on, but did you think that this would have been this easy? I certainly didn't. I thought it would have been a whole day of making dough and letting it rest, and I would have had to have, you know, been chained to the kitchen. But it's amazing what you discover when you just open yourself up to a new recipe. So Kitchen Sorcery is open. If you're ready to just open the fridge and have the confidence to know what to cook with what you have, this is the course for you. We start on the 1st of February, but if you pay in full, we've already begun, and there's live classes going already. When you pay in full, bonus, there's some before and there's also some after, plus you get almost $200 off the enrollment price. You get a cheese making at home masterclass, you get a fermenting at home masterclass, and you get a 7-day autopilot meal plan, which is put together by me for you, so you can just print it off, go to the shops and do your thing. And that in itself is a really beautiful way just to get started with all the cooking shenanigans before we deep dive into it. So while I've been riffing on that, I'll show you the rest of the flatbread. So I let it go. That actually looks darker on the screen than it is there. That's beautiful there. And then this side's a little bit more burnt, as I said before I got distracted. So I need a bowl, and then I'll go in with the next one. Or a plate. Look, there's my mugs. So I have a plate here, and I'd put down some, a piece of, what's it called? Paper towel. And then we just go in with the next one. 1 minute. So when you watch this, if you have any questions, let me know. If your dough isn't working, let me know. I'll link to Kitchen Sorcery, and I will link to this recipe as well. Although it's geared towards making pizza, but now you have this little instructional video so you know that pizza dough can also be flatbread. They're the same things. And that's it. Have a wonderful evening.